Some say the clock is ticking, and when it hits zero, the fate of Israel will unfold exactly as foretold over 1400 years ago. In the pages of the Quran and the Hadith lies a chilling description of a final confrontation, not a vague metaphor, but a detailed map of events, locations, and players in the last chapter of history. From the rise of the Mahdi to the return of Jesus, from the stirring of armies to the cries of the land itself, the prophecy lays out a countdown to a moment that could shake the world. And if these ancient words are true, then every tick brings us closer to a reality that will leave no one untouched. One of the most controversial of these narrations comes from Sahih Muslim, where the Prophet Muhammad is reported to have said, "The hour will not be established until the Muslims fight the Jews, and the Jews will hide behind rocks and trees. And the rocks and trees will say, 'O Muslim, O servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him.' Except for the Harkad tree, for it is the tree of the Jews." For centuries, this hadith has been debated, interpreted by some as a literal prediction of a future battle, by others as symbolic imagery. But regardless of interpretation, its words have become woven into Islamic eschatology, forming one of the most striking and unsettling visions of the end times. In Islamic prophecy, the final chapter begins not in Israel itself, but far to the east. The Mahdi, the guided one, is said to emerge in a time of global chaos, uniting the Muslim world and preparing it for a confrontation unlike any before. From the Arabian Peninsula to the edges of Persia, alliances are forged, armies gather, and the stage is set for a march toward the Holy Land. The Quran speaks of nations being drawn together like pieces on a chessboard, each move bringing the conflict closer to Jerusalem. The Hadith adds details, routes of armies, the role of Damascus as a key stronghold, and the mysterious role of Al-Masih ad-Dajjal, the false Messiah, who will appear before the final liberation. But the prophecy's most dramatic twist comes with the return of Jesus, Isa ibn Maryam, not as a newborn child, but as a warrior and a judge. Islamic tradition says he will descend near a white minaret in Damascus, on the eastern side, wearing garments stained with the sweat of battle, and he will join forces with the Mahdi. Together, they march toward the very heart of the conflict, Jerusalem. And here's where the ticking clock grows loudest. According to the narrations, the decisive battle takes place not in some symbolic, spiritual realm, but in real, physical locations that still exist today. You can trace them on a map, from Syria through the Jordan Valley to the gates of Al-Quds, or Jerusalem. When the final clash begins, the Hadith describes scenes that feel almost cinematic. The Dajjal's forces crumbling, the land itself betraying those who hide, and the Harkad tree standing alone in silence. The prophecy leaves no doubt about who emerges victorious, and in Islamic eschatology, that victory reshapes the fate of Israel forever. To understand why this prophecy has such force in Islamic thought, you have to go back, way back, to the earliest centuries of Islam. From the time of Muhammad, the relationship between Muslims and the Jewish tribes of Arabia was complex, sometimes allies, sometimes rivals. The Quran records moments of deep respect for the people of the book, yet also fierce criticism for those who oppose the Prophet's message. In the centuries after, Islamic scholars shaped their interpretation of Jewish history and Israel's destiny through the lens of both scripture and political experience. The Crusades, the Ottoman control of Jerusalem, and the colonial era all reinforced a view of the Holy Land as territory entrusted to Muslim stewardship, even if temporarily lost. When the modern State of Israel was founded in 1948, many in the Muslim world saw it not as a purely political event, but as part of a divine timeline. The wars of 1948, 1967, and 1973 were viewed not only in the language of diplomacy and military strategy, but also through the prism of the end-time script, events that were stepping stones toward the ultimate confrontation foretold centuries ago.
The rise of radical groups claiming to fight under the banner of the prophecy has given it a darker, more immediate edge. Their rhetoric draws directly from the Hadith, invoking the battle with the Jews as a rallying cry. Meanwhile, moderates in the Muslim world often seek to reinterpret or downplay these narrations, framing them as allegory or warnings about moral decay rather than literal war. But the core question remains: if the prophecy is true, then are we living in the final stretch of the countdown? And if so, what comes after zero? Every path in this prophecy leads to one place, Jerusalem. In Islamic eschatology, it is not just a holy city, it is the pivot point of the world. The Mahdi's prayer behind Jesus at the Al-Aqsa Mosque is seen as the moment when divine authority is fully restored. In that instant, Israel as we know it ceases to exist, replaced by a rule that believers see as ordained by God from the beginning of time. For others, this vision is troubling, even terrifying, not because of faith itself, but because of the human cost of pursuing it. The prophecy offers no roadmap for peaceful coexistence. Its climax is war, and its resolution is absolute. And so we end where we began, with the ticking clock. Every generation has wondered if they were the ones to see it hit zero. Perhaps it will come in our lifetime, perhaps not for centuries. But here's the unsettling truth: if the prophecy is real, its pieces are already on the board. The land, the cities, the tensions, all exactly where they need to be. The question isn't just whether you believe the prophecy, it's whether you're ready for what it means if it comes true. If you're finding this exploration eye-opening, I'd be grateful if you could like this video and subscribe. It's a small thing for you, but it really helps me keep going. Thanks for watching.